Hey, everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, November 6th, 2022. She was really going to do it. Tell Connor I slipped. Wow. That came way closer than I thought it was going to. It has been such an intense but riveting week in Y&R. And to start off, I want to know how you think Y&R handled the storyline of Chelsea's suicide attempt. Do you think that Y&R did a good job in bringing the issue to light and showing us in a realistic way what it looks like, or did you find it to fall short in an area or two? YRChat.com, that's our poll question for this week, because if you're going to go there, Y&R, you have to handle it right, and I want to know if you think they did. I can't, off the top of my head, think of any real criticisms of the storyline as a whole. I think that it was well done all the way around. I think they did a good job of highlighting the way that suicidal feelings can manifest, and also I think they did a good job of showing us what the process of getting help should ideally look like. I was able to completely understand and empathize with Chelsea, but I also was pleasantly surprised by how well I was able to empathize with Billy. I mean, that's a hell of a situation to find yourself in. Walking in on somebody's suicide attempt. I wouldn't know what to say. I wouldn't know what to do. She told him, "It hurts. It hurts every morning when I wake up, and so I don't want to wake up anymore." It would be so hard to argue that. How do you argue that? Billy did not know what to say. I wouldn't know what to say. He just had this look of shock and fear on his face, and he said, "Okay, thank you for sharing that with me." And he did a couple of smart little tricks, I thought, to try and help her before he ultimately had to force her. I thought it was a really smart little detail, the way that Billy, as a first instinct, simply tried to distract Chelsea by taking off his coat, handing it to her, and asking her to put it on. I thought that was brilliant. What I think he was trying to do there was give Chelsea a distraction, something very routine, very mundane to focus on, so that she would come down off the ledge, complete the mundane task, and then he could from there buy some time and talk with her. But that didn't work, which really shows how resolute she had become by the time he had gotten there. And when that didn't work, Billy put his life on the line to save her. He has 2 young children, and he put his life on the line to save her. She really easily could have taken him down with her, or they both could have fallen by accident, or just he could have fallen. I mean, there's so many ways that could have gone worse. I mean, what would you do? I guess that's why I found Billy's position to be intriguing, because I'm not currently suicidal. So it was easier for me to place myself into the shoes of someone who was walking in on the situation. So I liked that Y&R had both entry points, that, you know, someone who might find themselves in the situation that Billy found themselves in addition to someone who might be, even right now, finding themselves in the position that Chelsea found herself in, having the suicidal thoughts. When I lived in downtown Chicago, there were a few instances when I was downtown and there was someone who jumped off the one of the buildings, and it's you know, they cordon off the area, of course, and I never saw anything, but it's horrifying to think about. There's a skill, I would imagine, to negotiating someone out of that, but I mean, ultimately she tried to jump, and when trickery or, you know, distraction didn't do the trick, when talking didn't do the trick, ultimately Billy had to literally pull her back. He stood up on the ledge and lunged her backwards as she was getting ready to jump. He grabbed her and threw her backwards off the ledge. I mean, I don't know how, that's just, it's all very brave in a way. I mean, I just, even thinking about standing there on the ledge with someone, is standing on the ledge at all, just, it's so high up and so close to death, it makes me nauseous right now just thinking about it. But we got to see Chelsea's slow embrace of the idea. I mean, we saw her standing there when she was alone, and she closed her eyes and she felt the wind hitting her face and blowing her hair, and I think in those quiet moments there before Billy arrived, Chelsea had fully processed jumping as a total solution to the problem. And we did get the PSA, the public service announcement at the end of those scenes. Twice, actually, in the U.S., we got the PSA, which I think was very important because, of course, suicide is not the only solution. There are other ways out and through. Adam showed up late to the rooftop party. Hey guys, what's going on here? Can I jump in on the fun? Come on, you gotta give me something. Gotta have a little levity here somewhere. Oh, I felt bad for Adam because Billy suddenly became like a protector of Chelsea. I think he saw himself as the hero, or the superhero. He was in many ways, but maybe he took it very far. He definitely brushed Adam aside, like, get out of the way, you dirt bag. And he definitely continued to shut Adam out. And not just shut him out, because that I could understand, but he was really leaping to the conclusion that this was Adam's fault throughout the week, because Billy only had the information that he had, and it was that Chelsea was sitting with Adam at the club right before she went upstairs and had this attempt. So, a brain is only going to work with the information that they have, and so Billy leapt to the conclusion that it was Adam's fault. But, of course, the audience knows none of this was Adam's fault. Adam was being kind to Chelsea. And on top of that, no one is responsible for Chelsea's state right now. Chelsea was talking to Billy at one point after they had come down from the ledge about how Adam and other people just want to send her away to to a mental institution so that they don't have to deal with her issues. Nobody really wants to dig in and help. Everyone in her life just wants to send her away. But that's not true at all. A lot of people have tried to help Chelsea in various ways. And even there was someone else who mentioned, no, there's not a lot of people lining up to help Chelsea. And I thought, no, we have seen a lot of people trying to help Chelsea. And in fact, a lot of the voices that were rolling around in her head were of people who were telling her things that in their mind were meant to help. Those were her friends. But friends are not professionals. And Chelsea's perspective was off. And I think she just needed more than friendship could provide. And I hope that as part of her healing process, she comes around to that understanding that there were a lot of people that wanted to help her. Billy just happened to be the one who was there at the time. And Billy had better be careful. It's a big responsibility to vow to become someone's lifeline. I mean, the way he was guarding her when they went back to her hotel room, the way he turned off her phone when it was ringing, the way he was denying Adam's knock at the door, even tucking her into bed. I mean, he has vowed to be there for her through this. He's making a lot of promises right now, and that does concern me because Chelsea has to do this on her own. And I think it would be easy for her to fixate on Billy as part of the solution. So I hope that Billy's able to find a balance of helping Chelsea in a healthy way, in a managed way. She was so mad at him for saving her. She said, "Billy, why didn't you just let me go? Can you just let me go? This is what I want. You know, you had no right to interfere. It was my decision." And I thought, oh, well, that kind of raises an interesting question there, too. What do you think about that? Do you save someone's life if they don't want you to? Well, he made his choice. He knew he was not going to be able to live with himself if he didn't. He called Sharon, and Sharon was able to come and help get Chelsea into inpatient care, which I'm surprised Chelsea agreed to. I thought that she would probably fight that, but it seemed like maybe she was out of it at one point. Like maybe she agreed to it, and then she sort of was out of it, obviously. I'm sure she was exhausted and everything, but it seemed like at one point she didn't realize where she was, and then when she did realize where she did resist it a little, but she ultimately surrendered to it, which, you know, that's another piece that can't be ignored. For the person who needs help, not only surrendering to the help initially, but then giving over the control would be very difficult. The control over the care and, you know, and accepting that you now live in a different place and you're surrounded by different people, and giving up the control over your life when in that moment of considering suicide, you believe that you have the control over it. So, yes, I mean, that was an interesting facet of it as well. I think this is going to be extremely hard for Chelsea, obviously. I think it's going to be extremely hard for Billy, too. He told Sharon, I couldn't save Delia. I'm not going to let that happen again with Chelsea. And I think that put his actions into a deeper context for me, especially given the time of year. And I think that as Chelsea's going to need full-time counseling, I think that Billy's going to need some counseling, too. I was impressed that Billy did not tell Lily what had happened. I was not expecting that expert level of sensitivity. another way I think Y&R handled this well. Confidentiality became a running theme throughout the story that we've seen so far. Billy called Lily from the bathroom of Chelsea's hotel room right when they got back from the rooftop, and then he also talked to her later at Chancellor Winter's after they had got Chelsea checked into the hospital. And Lily had thought that he ditched her. I mean, she was really angry and angsty with him while they were at the club. She was annoyed that he had more focus on Chelsea and whatever her situation was than her. Yet, knowing that Lily was mad, didn't understand, Billy did not give Lily any details about Chelsea's situation. He just told Lily that Chelsea had an incident and that he's committed to being there for her. And I don't think Lily guessed it. I don't think Lily has any idea what happened. And I'm sure that to some fans, Lily might be coming off right now as insensitive here, but I don't blame her. I don't see it that way. I don't think that Lily could possibly have known the severity of what was going on. Again, the brain can only form a story based on the information that it has, and Lily's mind went right to, is Chelsea trying to make the moves on my man again? Let's not forget that. Chelsea did try to make the moves on Billy. And Lily said, okay. She didn't do anything. She didn't address it with Chelsea. She's like, okay. She trusted Billy to handle it. And her issue is with Billy. It didn't just start this week when the Chelsea thing happened. But I was impressed that Billy did not tell Lily. He did not betray Chelsea's privacy, even though it would have absolved him with Lily, or it would have explained the situation better, made it more understandable to Lily. I appreciated that particular complexity, maintaining Chelsea's confidentiality, even though it was potentially personally harmful to him. Confidentiality was also a concern with Adam. And now that's a stickier wicket because Connor, it's really neither Billy or Sharon's place to tell Adam what happened. It's important that Chelsea continues to trust them. And if either one of them ran off and told her ex-husband that she had had a suicide attempt, well, then that trust would be undermined, and that could really set her back on what it seems like right now is a more positive path. Now, that being said, there has got to be a process for this, right? I'm sure someone out there might know what the process is for informing family, because Chelsea does have a young son, who she doesn't have custody of, though, by the way. I mean, Adam has the custody. But I wonder, would the patient need to be involved in that decision if it was any different? Or maybe the not Fairview care facility staff can assist with that. I don't know exactly how that works. It definitely seems like Chelsea is not at Fairview. She is in a nice new place that we've never seen before, and I'm glad for that. She definitely has had some bad experiences at Fairview. Who hasn't? It's like the worst place you can go. But this place is the complete opposite. I mean, Fairview is very old looking and yellow, and the amenities included an in-room potted plant. But this one's very blue and white and clean, and it looks new, and I thought that the room seemed very calm and nice and reassuring, and I thought that the therapist who Chelsea was talking to was very nice and calm and reassuring. She did an intake questionnaire with Chelsea, and she seemed to not just want to get the answers, she seemed to really want to get to know Chelsea, to build that relationship and to really try to help her. And maybe, as Billy said, they can help her get back home in time for Thanksgiving with Connor. I thought that was a nice circular moment, by the way, when Connor sat down with Adam while all this is going on, neither of them knowing what had happened to Chelsea, but Connor sat down with Adam and he said that at the Halloween sleepover with Johnny, the two talked and they realized that all of this is maybe not as big of a deal as they first thought. So maybe Johnny and Connor will continue spending more time together, and maybe Chelsea will be able to improve her relationship with Johnny. I mean, maybe things were just about to get better, and she never would have known it if she had gone through with ending her life. Wow, we got a surprise tribute to Neil this week. I wasn't expecting that. But Nate and Devon had been talking a lot about Neil for the last 2 weeks, and I'm impressed that it ended up leading up to seeing some of our memories of Neil. I wonder if seeing Christophe St. John again on screen, seeing Neil again on screen, was connected to Chelsea's story in any way, because I do know that Christophe St. John's son had taken his own life prior to Christophe's death. I believe Christophe's son was in inpatient care when he committed suicide. So I'm sure that suicide prevention would have been an issue, a major issue that Christophe would have felt very passionate about. And I think he was also open about his struggles with depression too. So I wonder if Y&R had that in mind at all and wanted to make that connection and be sensitive to it on the week that Chelsea had her suicide attempt. Well, I love flashbacks. I always love flashbacks. I think we had seen that clip of Lily and Neil on her wedding day kind of recently, but I love that scene and I love the way it played. And I thought it was even cooler to see those very early scenes of Crystal Khalil when she first came onto the show, when Lily was just coming back into Neil's life after having been away with Drusilla in Paris for so long. Oh, young Lily was so young and so rebellious, and so was Devon. Oh, young rebellious Devon with that head of curly hair. What a doll. Oh, surely that curly hair would last forever. I have to say, I appreciate that Brighton shaves his head now. It looks like he had a bit of a receding hairline, and rather than holding on to it for dear life the way a lot of guys do, he just shaved it off. He just said, whatever, I'm gonna take control of it. And I think that's a wise move. I think his shaved head's very sexy. But yeah, in general, those were some really good flashbacks. We had some good moments of both Lily and Devon, and some good moments of reflection on Neil. And I think that's wonderful, especially coming at a time when the Winters family has been torn apart. Victoria, we all know you didn't hire Nate because of his business acumen. You hired Nate for the same reason that I would hire him, because he's unholy hot. And of course, you would want to be around him every day. You don't have to pretend like you know who Michael Jordan is. You wouldn't know a basketball if it hit you in the face. That being said, I would also like to hire Nate as my CEO. That's Chief Excitement Officer. In charge of my daily excitement. I love that Nate took the job at Newman, and I'm excited to see what happens there. And I'm glad that it ticks Devon off, because then we can keep seeing the rivalry between them. It has become one of my major reasons to tune in. I love Devon versus Nate. And Nate and Victoria were right in the middle of toasting to their new arrangement, complete with 4 weeks vacation and a parking spot by the elevator. And Devon walked in on them, and it took him about, 0.01 seconds to realize what was going on, and he immediately jumped in, told Victoria he knew what was going on, and invoked the name of Neil to reprimand them both. He said, "What would Neil think of this move, Victoria? Neil would never have done this to your family during all of his years of working at Newman Enterprises, but you would try to steal the company that he built away from his family?" Would Neil have done what Nate did, and what Nate and Victoria did? I think it's completely true. I think it's mostly completely true, because in all the wars of Jabot versus Newman, Neil was usually a pretty loyal soldier to whatever side he was on at the time, and most of the time I think that was the Newman side. But if given the opportunity, I mean, we don't know that Neil wouldn't have seized it. Nate had the opportunity and he seized it. I really appreciated Victoria's response to it all, though, because she simply said, "Look, our companies are very different. In some ways, they're even considered competitors. So I have no personal or professional obligation to you." Her attitude was definitely, "I've done nothing wrong. It's all just business." She never wavers from that icy resolve, does she? Maybe sometimes, but it is her trademark quality. I wonder if Nate is going to be in trouble with Victoria, because he's probably late to his first day of work. Looked like he was all suited up and ready to go to work for day one, and then Elena showed back up this week. Let herself right on into the apartment that she moved out of. Just opened up the door. And told Nate that she has decided to not take the job in Baltimore. Boston, Baltimore. What's the difference? Sorry. I'm going to get some comments about that. I think I said she went to Boston, and then she said Baltimore on screen. And I was like, oh, oops. They both start with B. Oh, well, but I mean, so Elaine is back, but it's certainly not going to be smooth sailing for the relationship between her and Nate, because she seemed to love everything that Nate said about all the ways that he made amends to the family, but then she did not love being informed that Victoria had given him Sally's job. And in fact, Elena called it Victoria just giving him a pat on the head. She called it a reward job. But good boy, good boy. Ooh, ooh. And then he said to her, "Look, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do." I'm kind of inclined to agree with Nate here, though, because I get Elena's reaction, but at the same time, I don't know. What's the problem with Nate working for Victoria? He's allowed to get another job, and this was a good opportunity. I mean, it had 4 weeks of vacation to start. What did you want him to do? I mean, he tried turning it down. Victoria had to really, really work to get him to say yes. I don't know. Maybe Elena is just subconsciously realizing that she's getting ready to walk into an all-new love triangle? Yeah, Nick is pretty ticked off that Victoria fired his ex-girlfriend and hired her future boyfriend. How hypocritical. Victoria going on about how complicated it would be with Nick and Sally dating and working together. All the while, she totally hired Nate to be her new boyfriend. Seems like the Nick and Sally thing is still off, though, because Nick did tell Summer that they're on break. And so I don't know, either we actually are on break, or this is just a slow fade back to Adam and Sally. That would be fine with me. I don't particularly enjoy seeing Adam and Nick butting heads over Sally, falling over themselves to see which one of them can be more upset that she was fired. It's just not working for me. I wish that Sally would just get back together with Adam. And maybe that'll happen soon, because in the previews for next week, Jack is encouraging Adam to keep making Sally believe that he loves her. And I think Sally knows that. I mean, love's not really the problem. Adam has definitely made his feelings clear, but maybe some time and space apart from both Adam and Nick will allow Sally to get some clarity on what and who she wants. What I want is for someone to get back to paying some attention to Sharon. That's my problem right now. No one is paying enough attention to Sharon. That's the real beef. Poor Sharon's over here single while all the boys are fighting over Sally. It's just not fair. Maybe Adam will get back together with Sally, and then Nick will get back together with Sharon, or based on Friday's episode, maybe Nick will get back together with Phyllis. That would be okay with me too, because he is uniquely suited to dealing with Phyllis's cray-cray. Ashley, you have still got it. You've still got it, girl. Swirl that glass of wine around. Give Tucker the blue-eyed flash and let him see your feminine guile. But you're not fooling anybody, including Tucker. But I like where we're going with this. Okay, so is Tucker trying actively to gain control of Jabot? Is that it? Is that happening? And if so, is Tucker trying to gain control of Jabot to impress Ashley? Or is it so that he can take it away from Jack? He was trying to blackmail Diane into providing him with financial information about Jabot, and Diane was quick to let him know that she was never in a position to do that. So he obviously hasn't gotten what he wanted unless he has another avenue. But I don't understand a plan. Is Tucker's plan to get back together with Ashley and to get control of her family company? Because that's never going to happen. I do really like the idea of Jack having a new rival, though. It would make a nice companion for him to have a new rival to go along with his new future wife, Diane. It's going to happen. Jack was definitely defending Diane's position, even if it was lately. Ashley forced Jack's hand into telling Kyle what his mother had been up to, that she was in cahoots with Tucker, right as soon as he and Summer got back from their honeymoon. I mean, didn't even give him a moment to breathe. It was just, oh, let's definitely drop this drama on him. And I don't think Jack wanted to do that. I don't think he wanted to tell Kyle as soon as he did. And I think Jack was trying to cushion the blow by playing devil's advocate. But both Kyle and Summer were definitely ticked off at Diane and at Phyllis. Ashley told Nikki and Phyllis about Diane's confession to Jack, and they all had a moment of celebration, but then they quickly realized that even though the short-term plan may have succeeded, it might not be enough to drive Diane away from Genoa City forever. So Phyllis decides she has to take matters into her own hands, which means she's just getting increasingly desperate. She goes marching over to Kyle and Summer and gets up in their face to tell them, "I told you so." What are you going to do about it now, kids? Well, that ought to win them over. I mean, everybody loves being told, I told you so. Phyllis has lost her cool. She might have lost it a while ago, but she definitely lost her cool pretty good on Friday. And now she's second guessing everything. She needs Nick to tell her that she's a good person all of a sudden. All the while she's screaming, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not the villain. Well, if you know that to be true, then just step back. And if you're not the villain and Diane's the villain, then just step back and let Diane be the villain. Let Diane implode. There's no sense in wrecking all of your relationships over it. She's just letting herself turn into the villain. The end doesn't justify the means. It's entertaining, but the end doesn't justify the means. And the other thing that's weird is that Phyllis had a victory this week. I thought that would have made her happy and not sad. Summer told Phyllis that she agrees with her. After this latest revelation of what Diane has done, she needs to go. Which means that now Summer's on Phyllis's side, which would be a powerful ally for Phyllis, especially considered Summer turned around and expressed that to Kyle. Said, I don't think we can trust Diane anymore. And Kyle, although he was mad at Diane and he was hurt, I think he was leaning toward forgiving her. I think Kyle leans towards Jack's side of the fence, empathizing with Diane's position. Kyle's never going to stop wanting his mom. He wants his mom. He always has. And now he sees that Diane has become a really good grandmom, and he wants that too. Speaking of that, what is going on with Harrison? He has a fever? Call in an emergency surgery. He is going to need a kidney. He has a rare blood type, I'm sure of it, and there's only one person on earth who would be a match for that. Dee Dee! Abby and Chance. This is what happens when people stop being polite and start getting real. I'm so into it. I'm so into Abby and Chance right now. I'm also so glad that they finally dropped the veil and finally admitted that they're out of sync. Nothing was ever going to get better. Nothing was ever going to change until they started being honest about it. But I guess now the question is, will it get better? Can they fix it from here? Some of the issues that were brought to light were so fundamental. There's a question of, can we actually fix it? Abby caught Chance relaxing at the coffee house after work when she felt that he should have come straight home. And that kind of says it all right there. Home is not relaxing for him. And she called it out, and he's the one who said, all right, you know what? Let's just hash it out right here on the back patio. We don't want to go home and get comfortable and get distracted. Let's just talk about it right here. And Chance said that he thinks she's resentful that she can't always be number one on his priority list. And I think that's true. I really do. Because of course she would want to be number one on her partner's priority list. I mean, that's natural, right? I mean, that's the point of having a partner. You're each other's number one. But Chance has this very all-consuming career that he's also loyal to. And I didn't like that Chance said that Abby just likes the idea of being married to a cop, being married to a federal investigator, but that she doesn't really accept the reality of what that means. And I thought that was a little insulting. And so did she, because she said, wait a minute. You left me to go off on some undercover mission for months. You left a note. I thought you were dead. I dealt with that. I lived with that. And then when you came home, I helped you deal with that. You don't get to tell me how I feel. And right now I feel like being alone. And then she stormed off. Cut to Abby not being alone, going to the restaurant where Devon happened to be. She spilled a tray of lemons on the floor. And he picked one up very cutely and said, well, you know what happens when life hands you lemons. And she picked up the lemon and said, yeah, you throw it on the floor and start to cry. I thought that was very cute. Not gonna lie, it helps soften Devon for me since he's been on such a rage tear lately. I've really enjoyed seeing him be a friend to her, but next week it looks like he's gonna be more than a friend to her, planting maybe a big juicy lemon kiss on her lips. And I don't think that's a fake out either, and I don't think it's a fantasy. I think it's real, real, real. And you want to know what else I think? I think Amanda is going to walk in on it. I am a class act who knows when to shut up and walk away. How did you guys all guess that right? I mean, practically everybody guessed correctly that it was Sally who said, I am a class act who knows when to shut up and walk away. Oh my goodness, 19 winners. It's a good thing I'm not sick anymore, and I'll be able to take a deep breath and prepare my throat for saying all these winners. Congratulations, Daisy, Tanya, Henry, T. Nicole, Marianne V, Kamna, Tina, Juanita, Sherrod, Ron, Victoria, Deedles, Wendy, Ellen, TB84, Sue W, Heather K, TJ, and Diana. You guys all guessed it right. Well, all right. Maybe this one will be easier, harder? I don't know. Let me know who you think said this. Let your life be driven with purpose. I like that. I think it's true. Let your life be driven with purpose. Who said it? If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your congrats on next week's chat. All right, now let's get to your comments, starting with last week's poll. I asked you guys, Abby and Chance, should they break up or should they stay together? This was another close one. 53% of you want Abby and Chance to stay together and work it out. 47% of you want them to just break up. I love when it's close like that. So let's get to your comments on this poll question. Abby and Chance, should they break up or stay together? Gary says, I like the concept of candy apples and the visual of candy corn. I might not try the apple, but I would probably take a couple candy corns too before having my fill in of what is solid sugar with some kind of unique coating flavor on it. Classic Halloween aesthetically, but not necessarily a favorite of the palate. Thanks for asking what is a great question of the week. Very keen and clever. I like that a lot. But to the real poll question, Naomi says, I like Abby and Chance together. They seem to be a mismatch, but that's what makes them interesting to me. Chance is not into analyzing things. Abby wants to talk endlessly about their problems, real or imagined. He wants to maintain a separate identity, and Abby views everything through a couple's lens. It's very realistic to me. Chance looks at Abby and sees a pit bull with angel's wings. He will be the only man to truly see and understand Abby. Devon doesn't have a clue. He's too insecure to be with Abby. Oh. Heather K says Chance and Abby are going nowhere. It's time to shake this couple up. Devon and Abby have been flirting for some time, and they have lots of chemistry. Chance will never see Dom if Devon and Abby fall in love. He will hate Devon, and that may send him right to Nate. Hot guys unite and find Sally and Chloe to design their clothes. Wait a minute, I have to process that. Chance and Nate? In all seriousness, Heather Kay says, we need a shake-up, and I don't want to recycle, so maybe Sharon and Chance? Maybe Chance will be the one who pulls Chelsea from her dark abyss? This breakup is good for lots of possibilities. Well, that's a fair point. I like Abby and Chance together. Like Naomi, I also voted that they should stay together. But I also like your point, Heather, that them breaking up opens up new possibilities for them to connect with other characters. Well, how about this? This is really funny. From Ellen on the topic of Diane and Summer's response to Diane's lie of omission. Ellen says, Summer says, we can forgive my crazy mother, but not yours. See how sincerely I'm gazing into your dumb eyes, Kyle? You should agree with me. I'm sorry, but that really does summarize it so well. We should forgive my crazy mother, Phyllis, but not your crazy mother, Kyle, Diane. That is really good. I mean, and at this point, gosh, I suppose we could do a poll question about who is crazier, because I think Phyllis kind of takes the cake at this point. That was a good one. Diana says, I can't believe Summer's telling Kyle that he should turn his back on his mother because of her omission. He only has one mother. Kyle is lucky to have a mother who loves him and wants to make amends. Many people would give anything for their mother's love. He should appreciate his mother while she is still around and healthy. Oh, that's a great perspective. Yeah. I mean, Diane loves Kyle. Her lie didn't have anything to do with Kyle. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know that it would be enough for me to want to cut Diane out of my life forever if she were my mother. There's a really, this is a very, the no lies thing, they're taking a very strict stance on even. But, I mean, I don't know. Tucker did come into town and she didn't mention it. Gary says Kyle's a big baby, while Tucker turns on the charm, only he doesn't have any. I actually really like this too, because I have to tell you guys, I was very enthusiastic about Tucker at first, and now I'm just not finding him as charming. I don't know what it is. I liked seeing the way Ashley was with him, but in general, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I think you're right, that it's like, he's not charming. It's like he wants to be, but he's not. I don't know what it's going to take, but maybe just getting used to him and keeping on. But right now I have to say, sometimes when Tucker comes on lately, I'm like, meh, again. And then we had the flashback scene with Ashley, and then the exact same scene, in the exact same spot. They were sitting in the same place for what was meant to be a new scene. So it was like two Tucker and Ashley scenes on two different days, but they both looked exactly the same. And it was all, aside from Ashley melting her cold exterior to do the little bit of flirting that she did, the scenes were not real compelling to me. New topic. Ellen says, I hope Sally lands somewhere fabulous. Unlike many others, Newmans, she is qualified to do many things. She is not only a fashion designer, she revived Spectra Fashions from the ground up. She was in charge of the whole business and ran it along with her unconventional band of colleagues. She was quite successful, too, until she was sabotaged by Bill Spencer. I think the reason she wasn't surprised to be fired at Newman is that she has been repeatedly screwed over by rich, entitled people. She's used to having to land on her feet and start over. Well, that's really great also, too, because I remember that. I was watching Bold and the Beautiful when Sally came on, and her band of unconventional colleagues. Yeah, and to see what she did with Spectra Fashions, that was a well-done story. It totally solidified her in daytime. And now, yeah, I think you're probably right. She wasn't surprised to be fired because she always kind of knew it was coming. Tina says, I'm hoping that Sally and Chelsea end up burying the hatchet, becoming friends, and opening a fashion house that rivals Marchetti and Fenmore's. It would be an amazing comeback story for Chelsea and give Sally the recognition she deserves. I see Connor being the one person who can get them to have a common goal. Maybe she and Adam can get back together and Sally can take care of Connor while Chelsea's dealing with her mental problems. I could see Chelsea being grateful to Sally for taking care of Connor. Oh, I can't. I can't see that. I don't know. I think Chelsea would be she'd have to really make a turnaround to be okay with Sally helping out with Connor. And I kind of think I don't like seeing that. I mean, I don't know. Since Sally and Adam are off again, on again, the relationship's not, solid. I don't think I want to see Sally becoming a motherly figure toward Connor. But maybe what you're saying is you'd like her to be more of just a friendly figure toward Connor. And that can happen whether or not Adam and Sally ever get back together. Sally can still be part of Connor's support system whether or not she's with Adam. But yeah, I mean, I think Sally's a designer. I'd like to see her do some designing. Same for Chelsea, and it would make an ideal partnership. You would think so. But I feel like probably Y&R is going to more so play it for rivals. But we'll see. I don't know. I hope, even though I want the best for Chelsea, I think this is going to take some time to work her back into her career. And I'm for it. I mean, Chelsea had definitely become very stale for me, and the situation that she's found herself in recently has definitely made me feel reinvested in the character. Do you guys feel that way too? Victoria says, cue the applause. The last 2 episodes over such a serious subject have been gripping. Melissa Claire Egan and Jason Thompson had me glued to my television. The writers have done a phenomenal job showcasing the nuances and emotions all parties are feeling. Chelsea's continued script of being a failure and her demands for it to end had me in tears. Y&R highlighted why Chelsea's decision was so personal to Billy. It rang true that Billy would feel he'd let Delia down and it wouldn't happen again. This left me in a puddle. I hope Y&R has me grabbing my Kleenex box more often. Bravo. And Laura says this has been a brutal but very important week. The things that Chelsea said were heart-wrenching, like, I didn't want to die, I just wanted the pain to stop. Depression can manifest itself in a physical pain. I suspect that Melissa Claire Egan came back to Y&R because the show offered her this storyline. The week's attempt has been coming for some time now. The signs have been there for months, and I hope our Y&R chatters who have struggled or know someone who has struggled with this devastation have friends and family around if they're feeling unsure. And remember, we all have Allie's podcast on Sundays, so we aren't alone. Oh, Laura, no pressure or anything. Oh, no. Oh, please don't let Allie's Y&R Chat help anybody on the razor's, or help you, but don't let that be the only thing on your razor's edge, please. I can't handle the pressure. But yeah, I mean, I think that Y&R did a really good job, as both Victoria and Laura has said, of highlighting what the situation looks like, and maybe it has given hope, or maybe even just pause to some people, because I'm sure that when you're having these thoughts in your head, you become so used to them that maybe you don't recognize the path that it's on. So maybe even if it didn't literally stop someone from killing themselves, maybe it helped someone create a little awareness within their own mind of, okay, well, wait a minute, I feel that way sometimes too. So maybe it would prompt people to go do a little bit more research, or maybe even actually taking the step of getting help. Y&R Viewer 123 says Melissa Claire Egan is a great actress. I think her acting skills have been undermined by the storylines given to the character, and I think we're starting to see Y&R's 50th season material here. Yeah, and Chelsea she hasn't had any good meaty stuff in a while, so this has been a great story to give to Melissa Claire Egan to also showcase what a great actress she is. Well, Sue W. says, I thought Jason Thompson was fantastic in his scenes with Chelsea this week. I think he knows his character well and stays consistent in that portrayal. I'm not interested in the forever Billy debate of should he or should he not pay for leaving Delia alone in the car the night she died, etc., etc. I do believe no person or consequence has or ever can punish him more than he does for that. And I feel that is always present in his character. Billy can empathize with a rock-bottom hopelessness and saw that in Chelsea. He admitted that he didn't know what to do, but he knew what not to do, which was to not allow her to jump or to let her be alone. His tearing up had me tearing up as well, and Jason Thompson always has me keenly aware of the layers below Billy's often doofus surface. What I really like about this is Billy can empathize with a rock-bottom hopelessness and saw that in Chelsea. Well, Alan says, on what planet is any of the Chelsea misery Adam's fault? Why does Sharon imply, by her silence, that much of it is, and let stupid Billy get away with saying that? Adam has been supportive and kind to Chelsea and gave her a pass for trying to frame him for poisoning Ray. Like always, he doesn't press charges against anyone who commits crimes against him. Billy, you're the only one who bailed on the podcast and fumbled the whole Johnny situation by not involving a psychologist from the beginning. You, Victoria, and Chelsea blew that. What has Adam done? Nothing but be a good father and co-parent as always. This Billy as sensitive savior is a turn-off for me. It's not earned. He abruptly blows off the podcast, then makes a big commitment to Lily and his COO job, and then turns on a dime and quits right after the Nate disaster. Now he has no time for Lily or Johnny or anything but Chelsea because only he can save her. Hey, Billy, Chelsea has to do the work. Others can support her, but she has to do it. And isolating her is not the answer. Anyone would have saved Chelsea on the roof. I'm not here for Billy Abbott Adam bashing. Chelsea protector routine. I'm not here for the Billy Abbott Adam bashing Chelsea protector routine. No thanks. Rant over for now. Oh, that's so good. See, dang, this is why I like Y&R Chat, because those are two great comments. I mean, there's truth. Sue W, Ellen, there's truth in both and all. The truth is like all encompassing everything you guys have said. My goodness. Sharad, though, says, I'm joining you on this rant, Ellen. The choice of having Billy save Chelsea, to me, was a mistake by the writers. I think a more bold choice could have been Sally recusing Chelsea, especially after the way Chelsea has treated Sally. Give me something new and unexpected. Oh, yeah. Oh, so you guys, I love these comments, and too, since we've got that poll question out there, because I didn't immediately see a really obvious point to criticize the storyline on. So yrchat.com, how do you think Y&R did with this story? Which side of the fence do you land on? Tina Cole says, I agree. I didn't understand how Billy could blame Adam for Chelsea reaching out this state of depression and pain. Adam got upset that Chelsea didn't include him in the discussion about telling Connor about being Johnny's biological mom, but Billy got upset at Chelsea too, and both men and Victoria were entitled to have frustrating feelings based on their son's reaction. But Chelsea's state is not anyone's fault. Life can get hard, and life can be painful, and unfortunately the pain can feel too much at times, and that's where Chelsea is. Please don't point fingers at others, Billy. Plus, Adam was trying to be a good friend and take Chelsea out for the evening so that she wasn't alone. And look how concerned he is about her well-being after that night at the glam club. That shows how much he cares about her and should not be viewed as a negative like Billy is seeing it. Yeah, that was... I think this is probably true. Probably everything that Billy did was right. But the Adam thing was not right. I mean, I don't know. I think he was maybe just funneling his own feelings of hatred toward Adam. I don't think it had anything to do with Chelsea. I just wonder if in that moment, in those very intense moments, Billy just felt so angry and frustrated and unsure and scared, and all his feelings got whipped up into it too. His daughter, everything was in the pot. And then Adam showed up, and then I think Billy just threw the pot right at him, threw the whole contents of the pot right at Adam, whether or not Adam had anything to do with it. And he didn't. He didn't. Okay, new topic. Henry says Christophe St. John, without a doubt, was a phenomenal actor and a great asset to The Young and the Restless in his portrayal of Neil Winters. He is deceased now, both as Neil and Christophe. And in that regard, I truly wish that the writers, producers, etc. of the show would simply stop showing past scenes of Neil. Let him go. I have no problem with some photos of him being displayed in the background of some of the scenes. That should be enough. Not sure how you other chatters feel about this, but I don't think it adds anything to the show to keep showing the flashbacks. Of course, a casual mention of his name now and then is okay, since he and Devon were in business partners as well, but just to reiterate, I feel like the flashbacks need to be eliminated 100%. Rest in peace, our friend Christophe St. John, gone but not forgotten. Oh, well, that is a really interesting perspective, Henry. I think you were very respectful in the way that you said it, too, because it's not that you don't like Christophe St. John, not that you don't love Neil. It's just, I kind of think I remember you saying you don't really like flashbacks at all. I think you weren't real, when we did the COVID flashbacks, and then you didn't like seeing the classic episodes either. So I think if I could be wrong in my memory, but I want to say you're not a big fan of flashbacks, and specifically here, you don't want to see them. You want to move forward with the story. You know, you like the current stories, and you don't feel it adds anything to the current viewing. Wow, that's a hot take. Does anybody else have a comment about that? Gary says it's interesting watching Devon's arrogance going up against Victoria's. Devon, who will never forgive the Nate betrayal, but in a change of heart, Nate pulled the plug on his own coup to save Chancellor Winters. Does that count for nothing? And now there's no Thanksgiving or Christmas for the outcast Nathan. But didn't Devon also state at the time that he would never forgive Lily for the accident of Hillary's death, putting the wheels in motion to send his sister up the river? Wasn't Lily still in prison or getting out at the time of Neil's death? Didn't the heartbreak of his only daughter's incarceration add to the tensions that may have caused Neil's heart attack? Look to thyself, Devon Hamilton. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, Devon definitely said he was never going to forgive Lily for killing, or, well, I guess I shouldn't say just killing, whatever. She was driving the car when Hillary when they had the accident. But here's the thing. Here's Laura with the truth. The tricky thing is, every character on the show is a hypocrite. Maybe not. Esther isn't a hypocrite, but any major character with a major storyline is. Yeah, that's it. That is true. They're all a bunch of hypocrites. There's no doubt about that. Every single last one of them on one plane or another. Oh, speaking of hot takes, how about this from Daisy, who says Victoria is being pathetic. Why would she ever think Nate is loyal to her? When he colluded with her, it wasn't about her. It was about his getting what he wanted. Nothing more and nothing less. Nate claimed he was loyal to Lily, Billy, and Devon at Chancellor Winters, but in reality, he wanted his way regardless. So I can see him betraying Victoria at some point. He's not a business person, nor does he want to learn to be. He just wants his way. And Nate might just get his way this time. Victoria was giddy with delight when Nate said yes, which makes me wonder if she's smitten with him and wants him near rather than wanting to thank him for betraying his family for her. I don't think Nate is grateful. I think he has an agenda that will hurt the Newmans and make Victoria look bad. It's likely, then, that the smitten Victoria may end up learning the hard way that when you hire someone with no qualifications, you get what you pay for. Oh, Daisy! A scathing commentary on Nate. Well, you might think that I would want to leap to his defense. But the truth is, the badder he gets, the more I like him. Okay, everybody, that brings us to the end of another week of Y&R and another week of Y&R Chat. It's been a big one. I would love to hear your comments about the show, your comments about the Y&R Chat, your comments about the comments. Go to yrchat.com. Let me know what you're thinking, and I will be back next Sunday to do it all over again. I hope you guys tune into the show this upcoming week. I hope you love it, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye!